We begin this morning with breaking news on the India-Pakistan conflict. Major developments after the two sides overnight agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire.
US President Donald Trump, he made the announcement after the US representatives brokered a deal. But as we go to where there are concerns that truce could fall through, Lizzie.
Yes, in the past few hours there have been reports of multiple explosions across parts of India, with the country's foreign minister accusing Pakistan of violating the deal. These pictures into the newsroom of Indian air defence units being triggered in the city of Srinagar.
2, 3.
And caught up in all of this, Australian cricketers this morning making their way home after the IPL was cancelled. Today's Sydney reporter Jack Hahn is at Sydney Airport for us. Jack, we're hearing the team narrowly missed a missile attack.
Yeah, that's correct. Very frightening indeed. First things first, we'll start here at Sydney Airport. You can see we're standing by right now. That's because the first flight from Dubai has just arrived here. We are starting to see passengers make their way through here. Why is that important? Well, we have been told that the cricketers were taken on a special charter flight to Dubai, and then from there they would have jumped on a commercial flight to head home. So we are keeping a keen eye out for the cricketers. No sign of them just yet, but as you mentioned, an incredibly close call for some of the cricketers that were in Pakistan. They were able to get on a special charter flight and take off, but that same airport had military action there just hours after reports that a drone was shot down and an explosion, so they certainly made it out just in the nick of time. But we continue to have plenty of passengers arrive here this morning, and as soon as we have any update on that front, we'll bring it to you. But we have had confirmation that Mitch Marsh has made it back to Australia safe and sound, and we'll keep you posted as soon as we see any other cricketers or have any information come through. Lizzie?
OK, Jack, thank you.
And in a matter of days, US President Donald Trump will embark on a tour of Arab nations in the Middle East, his first foreign diplomatic tour of his presidency.
But it's the conflict in Gaza that will loom large as aid agencies warn of this deepening crisis, with fears a new Israeli offensive could come in days. Jonathan Cricks from UNICEF is working with children on the ground, and he spoke from Gaza to our US correspondent, Jonathan Kersley.
The Gaza Strip is just 41 kilometres long, but the human suffering appears endless. This is the daily crush at charities providing what little food is on offer. Raed Al-Zahana says his children can't find any. We do not have the necessities of life. Life is like hell. It is death. We are dying every day, he says. The Hamas-run health ministry estimates almost 53,000 people have died in this war, 800 children since March. UNICEF's Jonathan Cricks spoke to us from near the Rafah military zone.
We can hear, I would say, intense bombardments.
A ceasefire ended in March. Jonathan was there during the pause and says now conditions are worse.
We are 100 miles beyond having had enough. I think people are absolutely desperate.
UNICEF has called Gaza a graveyard of children. It says in just 1 month, 10,000 living children have been treated for malnutrition.
There is 1.1 million children living in the most dire conditions here in the Gaza Strip.
And parents feel the anguish amid a rising death toll. They are dead and we are alive, but in truth, we are like them, dead, Hamadi says. She feeds her children what she can. This is old bread. She says she removes the mould before mixing it with tea. Around her, the blasts of war are daily. For 19 months, the war has raged in this enclave, and it will cast a long shadow over US President Donald Trump's visit to the Middle East in days. For Gaza, there's a grave threat. If a new ceasefire deal cannot be struck by the end of this tour, Israel would launch a new offensive to seize total control of the Gaza Strip.
People are very scared that the suffering that they have been through in the past 19 months will be even bigger in the coming weeks.
Aid agencies say for weeks supplies have been blocked, and Israel's fresh plans to create and control aid hubs only in the south is being criticised.
The use of humanitarian aid as a bait to force displacement, especially from the north to the south, will create this impossible choice between displacement and death. So the only thing entering Gaza right now is bombs.
On the ground, Jonathan says the struggle to see any light at the end of a long, dark tunnel towards a ceasefire is real.
There is a very strong feeling of fear among the children.
And he has one message for world leaders, including the US president.
When they would see a little baby suffering from malnutrition, or a 10-year-old girl having her arm amputated, the only thing they would want to do is to take them in their arms.
The days ahead are crucial. The people in Gaza have heard that many times before.
Pakistan is also a country that is a master of deception. They specialize in twisting narratives. Consider what happened in these last few weeks. The conflict was clearly about Pakistan sponsoring terrorism, about their role in the Pahalgam attack. But Pakistan was spinning it. They were depicting this as some sort of religious war. In fact, the first attempt came before Pahalgam. Pakistan's army chief peddled the two-nation theory. It was propounded by Muhammad Ali Jinnah leading up to 1947, a Pakistan for Muslims and India for Hindus. That's how Jinnah envisioned it. And last month, Asim Munir repeated that.
Well, our forefathers, they thought that we are different from the Hindus in every possible aspect of life. Our religion is different. Our customs are different. Our traditions are different. Our thoughts are different. Our ambitions are different. That was the foundation of the two-nation theory that was laid there. That we are two nations. We are not one nation.
Days later, the Pahalgam attack happened. Again, the religious angle was clear. The terrorists only targeted and killed non-Muslim civilians. One Muslim was killed, but he was only trying to protect the tourists. Clearly, there was an attempt to sow communal divide in India, something that was confirmed by India's Foreign Secretary.
हमले का यह तरीका जम्मू और कश्मीर और शेष राष्ट्र दोनों में सांप्रदायिक दंगे भड़काने के उद्देश्य से भी प्रेरित था.
India's answer did not come with statements. It came with a display. After Operation Sindoor, 3 Indian officials faced up to the press. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, Wing Commander Vyomika Singh of the Air Force and Colonel Sofia Qureshi of the Army. Different religions, different backgrounds and different cultures. This may seem like a perfectly choreographed move, but it comes naturally to India. Historically, we have been a diverse society. We respect all religions and cultures. Pakistan is trying to drive a wedge into this unity. Pro-Pakistan handles claim that India attacked Sikh shrines or gurdwaras. Let me show you one such post. It claims that India targeted the Nankana Sahib in Pakistan. That's where Guru Nanak was born. This is a very important place for Sikhs around the world. And just to be clear, this shrine was not attacked by anyone. In fact, it is Pakistan that attacked Gurudwaras in Jammu and Kashmir, and there is video evidence to back it up. They shelled a Gurudwara in Jammu's Poonch area. At least 3 civilians were killed. Yet, Pakistan accused India of targeting religious minorities. Unfortunately, the world is buying some of it. The world media, at least. Look at this article in the Financial Times. They were calling this a conflict in the hands of 2 religious strongmen. One is Asim Munir. The second is apparently Prime Minister Modi. Let me quote this article for you. South Asia's fate is now largely in the hands of these 2 devoutly religious strongmen who both believe that they are fighting a just war against a sworn enemy. This is classic provocation. India's operation was not against a religion, it was against terrorism. And why is Prime Minister Modi's devoutness significant? Former US President George Bush was a devout Christian. Apparently, he read the Bible every day. After 9/11, Bush launched the global war on terror. He publicly called it a crusade, yet no one in the Western media objected. No one called the war on terror a religious war. Do you see the hypocrisy here? Another example is CNN. India's ambassador recently went on this channel. We have recreated an exchange from that interview. Take a look at this.
Is this, in part, a religious war between Pakistani Muslims and Indian Hindus?
We are at war with terrorists who killed our civilians.
The audacity to ask that. This was not a fight between Indian Hindus and Pakistani Muslims. We have people of many faiths in our military. They're not fighting a religion, they're fighting terrorism. We do not expect Pakistan to understand that, but we do expect more responsibility from the world's media. The question is, why is Islamabad doing this? We can think of two objectives. Number one, to create divisions in India. Countries must be united during conflicts. Only then can governments focus completely on the battlefield. You can't be putting out fires at home at a time like this. And objective number two, to gather more supporters. Pakistan has lost the backing of Muslim Gulf states. I'm talking about the likes of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. In the past, they were more sympathetic towards Pakistan, but now they seem to be running out of patience. They have all lined up to condemn the attack in Pahalgam. So what does Islamabad do? They use the religion card. We can't control what other countries or foreign media is doing. What we can control is our actions. In the last few days, India has united behind the army. Religious and political lines have blurred. We are all speaking in one voice. If we keep doing that, Pakistan's campaign will fail.
Pope Leo has made his first trip outside the Vatican as pontiff, surprising a crowd of hundreds in a visit to a small town shrine. Nine's Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair is in Rome for us. Hannah, this wasn't his only surprise today.
Yeah, that's right, Lizzie. Good morning to you. He made several surprise visits, but perhaps the most special one was a trip to Santa Maria Maggiore. He laid a single white rose and prayed before the tomb of Pope Francis, surprising other visitors there. Earlier, he jumped in a van and headed out an hour east of Rome to a town called Genazzano. He visited a shrine there he's been to several times, which is run by his Order of Augustinians. Crowds there very pleased to see him as he waved to them and shook hands with locals. He spent about 2 hours there speaking and praying at the shrine. Take a look.
Having a new pope right here, right now, is a sort of shock also for the speed in which he came here and visit us.
I got quite emotional and I saw him and I saw a human being. A very special human being, I think, and I hope he's going to say good things for everyone, everywhere.
The Pope also met with the College of Cardinals today and revealed he plans to carry on the legacy of Pope Francis. He also said why he chose his name, Pope Leo XIV. He said it was partly to honour Pope Leo XIII, who was an advocate for social justice. He mentioned artificial intelligence and the threat it poses to human jobs. Meanwhile, the chimney attached to the Sistine Chapel has finally come down after the conclave, and tomorrow the Pope will deliver his first Sunday noon prayers at St Peter's Square. Lizzie.
Hannah Sinclair in Rome.
President Donald Trump is now threatening to slap a 100% tariff on Barbie dolls, Hot Wheels, and other products made from toy maker Mattel. President Trump imposed a 145% tariff on Chinese imports last month. Mattel, which makes Barbie, Hot Wheels, American Girl, and other famous toys, produces 40% of its products in China. On Monday, executives in a conference call said that the company plans to relocate about 500 of those products to other countries as it shifts production away from China. However, Ynon Kreiz, chairman and CEO of Mattel, said that it is unlikely the company will move its production from China to the United States. Following news of Mattel's moves, the president said this at the Oval Office on Thursday.
That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States, and that's their biggest market.
The president has now sent representatives to Switzerland for talks with China this weekend in an effort to de-escalate the trade war. On his Truth Social platform on Friday morning, Donald Trump wrote, 80% tariff on China seems right. He said that would be up to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who will be involved in the talks. As for Mattel, the company says it hopes to keep up to 50% of its products at $20 or less. But prices might rise in the U.S. due to the tariff.
Progress in the trade war between the U.S. and China. For the first time, negotiators from the two countries are meeting. It's happening in Geneva, Switzerland. They'll be back at it tomorrow. And when it comes to the trade war, West Coast ports are ground zero. CBS's Elise Preston is at the largest one there in Los Angeles. Elise.
Jerika, the flow of goods from China into the U.S. has slowed dramatically. The drop-off in activity could mean job cuts, shortages, and tough choices for consumers. Normally bustling berths sit empty at the Port of Los Angeles. Facing 145% tariffs, cargo coming from China is estimated to be down more than a third, according to port officials. Less cargo means fewer jobs for dock workers, truck drivers, and others in the supply chain.
Us as truck drivers, we're moving less freight, and less freight means less money.
LA officials say the tariffs threaten $500 billion in revenue and put 2 million local workers at risk. While painful, some say the tariffs are a step in the right direction.
We believe this administration is doing a good job. It's just that it's going to take a little time.
The slowdown at U.S. ports is likely to ripple through the economy, impacting transportation, warehousing, and other businesses. Consumers may eventually see less inventory on store shelves and higher prices. Experts say savvy shoppers who have been waiting to buy may want to purchase cars, appliances, electronic goods, and furniture before July 2nd. California's Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing back on Trump's tariffs. He's running an ad on Fox News saying the trade war is harming the state's economy.
These tariffs punish families and risk ending America's run as the world's greatest economy. Take it from California. We're the ones leading it.
Other West Coast ports are also feeling the brunt of tariffs. Officials at docks in Seattle and Tacoma say they're expecting a 40% drop in cargo volume this month. Jerika?
That is significant. Elise Preston, thank you.
China believes it could stand up to, respond to, and outlast the Trump administration in these upcoming trade talks. That's its view going into these negotiations, according to a former senior U.S. diplomat who's been traveling in Asia. China believes it's well positioned for these talks because it learned from the first Trump administration and the tariffs it imposed then. And over the last several years, it has developed a counter-tariff strategy specifically designed for this. Part of that strategy is that China has figured out ways to inflict economic pain on U.S. businesses. And how do they plan to do that in this current trade war? One key area of vulnerability is rare earths. They know that many U.S. companies depend on rare earths that largely come from China. In particular, rare earths that go into batteries, into magnets that are so essential to a whole host of products like electric vehicles, even some weapons in the defense industry. As a result of that, the Trump administration, I'm told by lobbyists in Washington, is hearing from American companies saying, try to get a deal done or our businesses are in trouble.
The U.S. government has reportedly granted 54 white South African farmers refugee status, and they're expected to land in the U.S. on Monday, the May 12th. The group will be the first lot of Afrikaners to be accepted by the U.S. after President Trump signed an executive order in February offering them possible resettlement. Trump has accused the South African government of doing some terrible things and said they are confiscating white land, which Pretoria have denied multiple times. In a statement published on Friday, South Africa's foreign ministry confirmed that officials from both the countries engaged in resettlement issue and described the purported move as politically motivated and designed to undermine South Africa's constitutional democracy. The department reiterated that all allegations of discriminations are unfounded.
4.1 magnitude earthquake in Tennessee woke families up and rattled homes as far away as Atlanta.
Now, those tremors spreading across much of the South. We want to get straight to our Alex Brochet with a look at more from reaction from that region. Alex.
Hey, Phil. Yeah, so this tremor hit around, or this earthquake hit around 9 this morning in Greenback, Tennessee. That's just outside of Knoxville. And look, I mean, we're used to covering these types of earthquakes, and you see them in situated areas. Well, this is the Great Smoky Mountains, and so you just saw that bear right there who was curiously kind of approaching a cabin, and then that earthquake hit, and that black bear goes scampering away. We've also seen that was in Wears Valley. We've also seen images of a dog, or excuse me, a cat that was scared off a porch as this rattling happens. But Phil, one of the things that we're hearing from seismologists is that while certainly in the U.S. there's a huge focus of earthquakes on the West Coast, there is quite a bit of seismic activity in Tennessee and northern Georgia. This particular earthquake was felt in Tennessee and across 6 other states at a 4.1. But they say that it's along an area or stretch that's one of the most active in the eastern half of the United States. And so right now they are bracing for potential aftershocks. Seismologists say that the chance of a 3.0 magnitude quake within the next week, they put it at a more than 20% right now. But thankfully, so far, no damage, no injuries reported. But Phil, I can tell you that there are some road closures that are still in effect as crews are out there trying to just comb through to make sure that everything is safe to go.
Yeah, I bet. All right, Alex Brochet. Alex, thank you.
roobkan hadda la da'ay xalay waa la isu sheegay waa almost 8 saac oo xiriir socday waa roob 40 sano ka hor ay dadka qaarkood ay leeyihiin waxaan aragno waxay ahayd guryo fara badan oo dumay oo biyo galay masaakiin oo qaxootiga meeshan degan waa xalay waa laga daad gureeyay dhimashadu 20 miyo kor u dhaafaysa hadda inta soo gaartay anaga
يا روك ما عند باتي وأنا رفعت سبيلي وعلمي يا الله سحرير أو كبحسنة إلى ون بالبالي أو كبح عن علمي عد عليك يا كجرنا وبيالك يا قرار كركي ساحل الساحلي أنا وكرخرة إلا حتى أنا كرخرو يا ويلي مقرع أنا قرع أسكتوس أدام مؤنين.
In Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin held high-level talks with Egypt and Brazil's leaders following the Victory Day parade as Russia marked 80 years since the defeat of Nazi Germany. Egypt is one of Russia's key partners in Africa. According to the results of last year, bilateral trade turnover increased by more than 30%, reaching a record $9 billion, and in the first 2 months of this year, it grew by more than 80%. The Russian-Egyptian Intergovernmental Commission is active. The implementation of major joint projects continues, and we are confident that we will move forward in all these areas. Our countries coordinate approaches to current international issues, including the situation in the Middle East. In response, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi welcomed stronger ties with Moscow, saying both countries share common goals in regional stability and economic development.
This is insane. Look at this towering thunderstorm right here, producing a tornado warning all the way in Vernon County. This is absolutely wild.
solar system there.
¡Está viva la vaca! ¡Está viva! ¡Agárrenla, agárrenla! ¡Agárrenla! ¡Agárrenla! ¡Déjate, voy moreno! ¡Déjate, voy moreno de la vaca! ¡Dios, diablo! ¡Déjate, voy moreno de la vaca, señores! No, vamos a tirar. ¡Lazo! ¡Manda lazo, papá! ¡Dios, diablo! ¡Haitiano, mira!
Barrio Orillas del Río. Por la quebrada.
Şöyle güzel. Саш!
Ох ты, ёптать, нихуя себе.
Нифига хуй. Вот так, вот и все, и ты на той стороне.
И ты на той стороне.
Мужик. Эй! Мужик! Уходи!
Трещина пошла.
Охуеть!
Не, пойдем отсюда.